Hi, good morning and welcome everybody. My name is Tracy Irby and I am the director at the Center for Women Entrepreneur. Glad to have all of you here this morning, and there's several new faces, so we welcome you and hope to see you again. Uh, so, all right, well, first, I'd like to introduce our staff. We have Barbara Ranke. She was at the front. Donna Lisa is in here. She has transferred to the Center for Student Leadership, which is right down the hall. So we haven't really lost her, and she's going to help us with several months. We appreciate her so much. We are part of the larger Jane Nelson Institute for Women's Leadership. So for those of you who've never been on here, up here before, we have a nice exhibit hall right down there about women in government. That's very interesting, so feel free to stop down there. The Jane Nelson Institute for Women's Leadership is dedicated to preparing more women to take on successful roles in business and public service. It's three specialized centers: our center, Center for Women Entrepreneurs, Center for Student Leadership, and Center for Women in Government. Ensure women have the education to establish careers as successful executives, skills for building entrepreneurial businesses, and the framework needed to run for public office. Our center was the first one. We were funded in 2015. This is our 10-year anniversary, so we're very excited about that. What we like to do is know who is in the room as well. So we will go around. If you could just quickly introduce yourself and the name of your business. And it also always helps our speaker as well to know who's in the room. So Pam, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Pamela Baker. I am the owner of Kira Trucking, and I have a software consulting company that develops software for the trucking industry.
Great.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lateria Hyder. I am the owner of Undeniably Unique, and what I do is empower women. I'm also, you see my Healing Hands name tag. I'll be visiting the nursing program in just a second. We're trying to recruit nurses. So if you have a nurse friend, we're hiring and offering a $7,500 sign-on bonus.
My name is Christy Hanhart. I have a cleaning service, Christy's Cleaning Service, and then I also have a nonprofit called Early Quit. What we do is help kids that have aged out of the foster care system.
My name is Lori Russell, and I have the Period Commercial Cleaning, a janitorial firm.
I'm Felicia Young. I'm with A1 Cleanse. We have a residential, commercial, and post-construction cleaning service.
I'm Jamie Jackson. I'm also with A1 Cleanse, and we have a cleaning service, as you said. And we also started a book club. I want to be involved.
Oh, great.
My name is Kishana. I'm a student, and I'm starting my beauty marketing business.
Great.
Anita Borham, I'm broker owner of Anita Borham Realty.
Kristen Killer Thomas. I own BbK Bookkeeping Services. I help grow small businesses so they can manage their income and finances so that they have better outlook on their future.
I'm Nadia with Henry Taylor Sweets. Our local bakery will order and keep or try our freeze-dried yummies.
Good job.
Hi, I'm Samantha Cutler, owner of this creature. And the local bakery, we do custom cakes, cupcakes, cookies, pies, and rolls. And then we also have all the freeze-dried yummies. Like I just pulled out freeze-dried peppers and garlic out of the freeze dryer yesterday. So we do all those fun things. Samantha with Heavenly Tailored Sweets, hoping you have a little sweet life.
Abby Berger. I'm with Riser Media Group, a woman-owned local marketing team.
I'm Susan Trisetti. I'm a realtor with Texas Premier Realty.
I'm Jennifer Fuller. I'm with the Denton Public School Foundation. We raise money to support the students and staff of Denton ISD and help produce your future employees.
I'm Gina Vanacore, owner of Mosaic Leadership Group. It's an organizational development consulting organization.
My name is Valerie Gurka, and I'm the owner of Tech Figures, which is a software development company. We do custom software, and we also do AI
consultations.
Great, okay. Should we pick on you or not? Gonna introduce yourself? Nah. Excuse us. Okay, well, I'm excited to introduce our speaker for today. Kim Arney is the founder and owner of BbK Services 556 and has nearly 30 years of experience as an on-site and remote bookkeeper and payroll professional. Kim has kept books for private enterprises, nonprofits, and individuals in industries ranging from healthcare and government to landscaping, construction, law, manufacturing, retail, and real estate. She takes pride in developing an efficient, informative, and collaborative approach to her clients' finances to help them reach their goals. Kim earned her BS in accounting and computer information systems from Central State University. Kim also teaches QuickBooks in conjunction with TWU. She has taught our classes before and is an adjunct at North Central Texas College. So Kim, we're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am honored and humbled to be here before you. First of all, I want to thank this group, the entrepreneur group. It has helped me in so many ways. As I've told some of the ladies earlier, I'm fantastic one-on-one, but getting in front of people, like right now, I feel like I'm about to pass out. So it helps me. And then with Tracy, then when I was teaching, this was actually my class, and then just getting before people. So this is also something I'm trying to do to conquer and overcome that feeling. So as we start the slides, if you want to get in contact with me, right there, the information is bbk-services.com. That's at our website, or you can just go to bbk-services.com for our website. We are on Facebook and Instagram as well. And and then there's the website down there. So.
Should be on Kim for you.
Oh, is it?
Should be, yep. Green.
Yeah, it
green
is
means
on.
go, yep.
Okay.
And point it at the screen.
Ah. It's not. Change. There we go. So before I get started, right there, that's my team. And some of their family members. My team is not that big. We usually have an annual trip. Two of my bookkeepers are in Florida. So we usually go to Florida. That's in Tampa, Florida. That's at what is that? Dave and Buster's. So we have that annually. They're free to bring their family and so forth. I always try to say, I don't ever want to lose sight of how important the people that work with me, not for me, work with me, are to my organization, because without them, I cannot grow. Which I never, and I'll get into that, I never saw my business beyond me because I didn't want it beyond me. So a little bit, just tell you a little bit more about myself. When I took my first accounting class in high school, fell in love with it immediately. My father was always the type who would encourage us. So he had a business, so he would have me come do his books. So that was my first exposure. Then when I went to college back in '85, my major was accounting, but as I was getting ready to graduate, the economy was not so great. So I decided to get another degree in computer information systems. So I came out with 2 bachelor's degrees in 4 years. With that, I started looking for a job, looking for an accounting job. I kept getting approached to be a computer programmer. Again, that's '85. For some of you who are up there with me, if you can remember that time, that's when, it was still big mainframe computers, things of that particular nature. So I kept getting offered, and I was staying with my mother, and she was like, okay, we need to go, you need to get out of my house, you need to find a job. So I took a job as a COBOL programmer. For those, again, that's, if people know Fortran, it's like a old language. So back then, you could not
jump around from job to job like you do now. You had to stay somewhere at least 3 years. If not, your career was synced and you were basically labeled a loser. So I'm like, I don't want to get pigeonholed. I just got this other degree to make myself more marketable, not to have my career in that. By that time, I was dating my husband and we were planning to get married. So what I did was I quit my job, went and registered with a temporary agency, an accounting temporary agency, and I told them to put me on short-term assignments. From there, they kept putting me on assignments with small business owners, and I was keeping their books. So that's how I got started. They would enjoy my work, and from there, I built a clientele. Back then, again, no remote work or anything of that particular nature. So I would go into their office, depending on the size of my client, how often. QuickBooks didn't exist then. It was Quicken, for again, those of age like me would know that. So I had that business for like 10 years. Then my husband's career started taking off and we were going to get transferred. So I had to leave my business behind. So when we got transferred, we knew that we would probably be transferred a lot. So we decided I would stay at home and raise our 2 children. To date, we have lived in 5 different states because of my husband's career. So with that, during that time, I would end up volunteering at my children's school and end up being a permanent sub. And it worked great because I would have to take them to school, bring them home. So it worked great. So once the youngest one graduated from high school in 2015, I was at home bored. And my husband's like, why don't you start your business back? Now, mind you, I hadn't did that business since the mid 1990s. So I'm like, dude, you're looking at 30 years. I'm not so sure. So I had applied for a position as an accountant. My husband's like, Kim, you're not an employee, you're an entrepreneur. And again, I'm a firm believer, I'm not knocking whoever chooses to be a W-2 as opposed to an entrepreneur. You just got to know your lane and stay in it. And I was like, I don't know. That same day we were at a networking function, got to talking with another couple, they needed a bookkeeper. So I got my first client at that point. From there, then I started building my business, got into QuickBooks at that point. What else? Going along fine, always kept just enough clients for me to do. My children, my adult children, should I say, would always help me, just little admin work to keep up with my clients. So, okay, pandemic hits, everybody knows that. That's a great marker for everything. I was approached by the Veterans Administration. They wanted 100 accountants to work, doing accounting work to reopen this portal. They wanted 5 team leaders with 19 each accountants reporting to them. So they asked me to be a team leader. So mind you, it's remote all across the United States, right? So as we're working on this project and it came time to pare down, let me back up a little bit. A lot of times we would sit there with hours with nothing to do, but you were still paid, kind of government wasteful spending at its best, right? And so we were like working from 8 to 5, right? And they were going to get paid regardless, but they might not give work to me until 3 o'clock. And then I would, pass it out to my team. So, but I kept them engaged. That's another thing. People love to say, oh, I want to work remote. Again, I'm a firm believer. Everything is not for everybody. So people say, oh yeah, I want to work remote. There's a lot of discipline to working remote. There's nobody over your shoulder saying, hey, did you get this project done? Did you do that? You have to have some get up and go about you. So when it came time, one of the team leaders said, they told us to pare down to 3 people each. One team leader said nobody on her team was worthy. I disagree. Because what I would do during that downtime, I kept my people engaged. I would have what I consider my people that were more thorough to check on the other accountants' work to make sure everything was done properly. So I says, well, I have people on my team that's worthy. So I was able to save 6 people's jobs that day, rolled them on over there. So when I called in my 3 who I picked, they were like, oh man, where I live, the economy is still bad. I thought this project was going to go longer. They had even given them computers and everything. It was supposed to be like a year project. And I was hoping it would at least make it through the holidays. So I says, hey, look, this is what I do. I have a bookkeeping business. If you're interested, I can get more clients. Give me 1 month. And as a result, I hired 2 of the young ladies. So from there, I'm still crunching numbers with them. And then I'm like, oh, Kim, you have a team now. You can't keep, crunching the numbers. You have people reporting to you. So from there, I started networking. Joined the Louisville Chamber. Some of my friends are here, help me and make me feel better. And that was my first networking and started networking. And from there, I met Tracy and started teaching, and it just all evolved. And it's just been really great. And again, as I do this presentation, some people you can be like, this is boring, but it kind of brings me to with your business and growing in the steps that you have to do to grow your business, right? So that's a little bit about me and where we are now. So and this is titled The Importance of Bookkeeping. All right, so I know, and you guys introduce yourselves. I know you're business people. You got a lot of things set up. So like I said, some of this might be boring in the beginning. So 3 steps of bookkeeping. First thing is you have to file your paperwork. Now, every state is different. So I will be speaking from the standpoint of Texas. First, you have to go to the state online, search for your name, get that registered, get your entity paperwork, all those things. I like to say, if you're not at that stage yet, what you have now is a hobby, not a business, okay? Again, everything is steps. So you file your paperwork. From there, then you go on the irs.gov and get your EIN number. Once you have those paperwork in order, then now you can open up your bank account, your business name, and so forth. Getting back to filing your paperwork, and I'll make clarity on this. People are so used to saying LLCs, right? That's the popular business entity to file. But there's layers to that. People will say, well, I want to do an S Corp. I said, you can still be an LLC and become an S Corp. Again, it's layering in it as you grow. So for example, BbK is an LLC, but I file as an S Corp. To file as an S Corp, you have to have employees. You have to have someone that receives a W-2 so you can get some of those benefits. So there's C Corps, there's all types of things. Nothing with the LLC. A lot of people don't realize it can either be a sole owner, which means one, you can set it up like that, or you can be a partnership and have several partners. So it's all different type of layers. You just got to know what direction, and as you grow, to change. And same thing, as I was making more money even before I brought on my team, and I don't do taxes, my tax preparer told me, hey, you're making too much money now. You need to start paying yourself. So that's how that goes. Let me see. Oops, let me go back. All right, so now you've established your bank account. What's the first thing I say? Do not commingle money. So, and it does. Every now and then a mistake can happen, right? And you can easily change that. But don't commingle the money. Do all your business stuff and get paid in your business name. To do everything through that checking account. Depending on your business, you might not be able to get a credit card right away in your business name. You might have a personal credit card. Use that strictly for your business transactions. And then that other credit card when we go grocery shopping and when a purse shows up on the front porch when I said I didn't buy it. And I said they just left it there, that's the other credit card. Let me see. And I said deposits, so forth, credit cards. All righty. So now the next step is knowing your numbers. My tagline in my business is, and we love to do this in the chamber, and we repeat, and I say, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And you don't. It's very important. You think because, I'm paying the bills, I'm doing all that. You don't really know your numbers. Just because you're paying the bills does not mean that you're financially sovereign. And that's why you need to keep the books. Now, again, depending on your business, first starting out, it's an expense. You might not have a QuickBooks or some other software. Guess what? Pen and paper works, Excel works until you're ready. I always tell people, take it a step at a time until you're ready. When the watching the numbers becomes too much and it's taken away from your specialty of your business, guess what? You need a bookkeeper, okay? Here's another thing. I gave some examples: QuickBooks, Excel, Google Sheets, Rent Manager 12, I'm sorry, that there, I consider that, like with my medium-sized clients, I feel like I consider that my smaller clients are mostly on QuickBooks and other smaller platforms, but that one there, I had a client who came here, who was developing land, who would buy 100 acres of land, and build 100 houses, buy investments and help people invest with him, raise $3 million in a week. He was phenomenal. And so when we were doing his books, he had over 50 entities, but as he grew, he needed an accounting department. And that's not what I'm interested in my business. So we parted ways, but we're still friends to this day. And that's what I like with my clients. That's why I'm there watching their numbers. I want you to grow. I want you to outgrow me and move on. That's what business is about. That's what we're all of us entrepreneurs are in here for. Hopefully, except for me, you know, I didn't want to do all that part. All righty. All right, so bookkeeping. What it does is, where's the money going? Do I have money right now? And will I have money tomorrow? And with those financial reports, it shows you all of that. Like I said, once again, just because you're paying your bills, you think everything's fine, but you need to really be looking at those financial reports to really see the health of your business. That's another reason with bookkeeping. Let's say, I'm gonna throw something out. Let's say your business is a photographer and you have to, I'm gonna use something on Kodak, and you have to buy film. But you're looking at that cost and it's going up and up like everything is right now. Then that's the time to look for another vendor so you can save some money. Those are all the things that a bookkeeper should do to you and be able to provide for you as you grow your business. All right. So as a bookkeeper, I have both monthly clients and quarterly clients that we produce their financials. We produce on the monthly the profit and loss and the balance sheet every month once we reconcile their bank statements. Okay. And then we meet with our clients and force them to look at the numbers. We then ask them, well, where do you want to go next in your business? Plus, I might need to start producing other reports for them. So let me give me an example. Let's say you're ready to expand and you need a loan, right? And the bank is going to ask for things. They really want that cash flow statement, okay? And what the cash flow shows what your cash flow is in your bank account. So if you're paying all your bills, everything, that bank account is at $10 every month, and if a client doesn't pay, you know that's going to mess it, that's not going to work. You have the cushion in there because sometimes everybody doesn't pay and you still have payroll, you still have other bills and things. So, and that's what the bank wants to see. They want to make sure that they're taking a gamble on you. They want to make sure you're able to pay them back and be successful. I have another example. Several of my clients, they have went on to open second and third locations. That's because they know their numbers and we, you know, give them to them every month. So again, all those things are important. Here's a little example of a cash flow. I have it really small, I don't have my spectacles on, but it's by January, February, March, and different expenses. And as you can see, I think I 1 month they had a loss, but I can't see from here. But that's why you look at your numbers and like, oh, why was it the loss? You know, just those things like that. And again, if you're steady running your business, you might not have time to dab in and look at things like that. That's why you need them. All right. All right. And I mentioned this early. The income statement is same word for the profit and loss, the P&L. I hear that. The balance sheet, and then tax files. Oh, you thought I wasn't gonna talk about tax, which is very important in keeping your numbers and everything in order, because you don't want tax issues. You don't want a relationship with the IRS. That's why I don't do taxes. Just another thing, and that's still another layer. I tell people how you know, because people just throw around and say, are you a CPA? Okay, let me tell you guys, us accountants, we're just like attorneys. We don't do it all. We all have our certain lane, just like an attorney. If you need a divorce attorney, you don't go to a bankruptcy attorney. Same thing when it comes to an account. You don't do it all. And my specialty is bookkeeping and payroll. Now, I work in conjunction with taxpayers and so forth, and things of that nature. And of course, I have to deal with them when it comes time for my clients to turn over to them, because I'm talking back and forth and fixing things in journal entries. And forgive me if I get nerdy and stuff, because I still am an accountant. I can be one. Oh, that's what I was gonna say, sorry. So this is another thing I said. If you're just a straight W-2 person, you don't have any assets or things like that, go to H&R Block. Go to Jackson Hewitt, right? But once you are an entrepreneur and you have to file, depending on your status, and file by March 15th on your business entity and on your personal April 15th, unless you file an extension, of course. I tell people at that point, you need either a CPA or an EA. Some people might not know what an EA, and that's behind their name. That means an enrolled agent. They have learned everything through the IRS, and 9 times out of 10, they have worked with the IRS. They're cheaper than a CPA. With a CPA, what you're going to get is to be a person like me that at least has a 4-year college degree, and then they went on and gotten their CPA license. You're going to pay for that, okay? An EA works great as well because they know. And at that level, when you're entrepreneur and doing your taxes, if you get audited or anything, Jackson Hewitt and all that, they can't represent you. They cannot speak on your behalf. You don't have time when IRS wants to question all of that stuff, right? You don't. You're running a business, right? So that's when you need that EA or that CPA. Again, levels to everything. All right. So I got a little spill on accounting versus bookkeeping. Accounting, you might hear somebody say they're a staff accountant. They might work for a corporation. They're getting the financials together for that company on probably a monthly basis that they have to present before their board of directors or whoever the case may be. What a bookkeeper does is we're managing the books, the day-to-day operations of everything, the transactions that come in, categorizing them properly so you can be prepared for tax season, and also watch your numbers as you grow and make your decisions on, do I need a second location, you know, whatever the case may be. All right, so another nerdy stuff. Basics of accounting. They are usually 2 types that are most common: cash base and accrual base. Cash base, most people are on accrual, okay? Cash base are usually businesses like, they deal mostly in cash. Maybe a hairstylist, think who else? A hairstylist, just anybody that is in a cash basis, because your numbers will look totally different when they're recorded in financials. So in the cash basis, they record the transactions only when cash is received or paid. Big difference than accrual, you record it anyway, so it shows on the book, then when it's time to pay, you pay. So again, more nuances on this whole big picture of how things work. All righty. It's okay, you're growing. Now you're like, oh my, I've hired someone. And there's a difference You can either hire someone as a W-2, that's an actual employee, or you've heard people say a 1099, that's a contractor. There is a difference. And you need to be very clear on that. Most people, sometimes depending on your business, might start off with contractors, 1099. So you need them to fill out a W-9 form with their information. You do not pay their taxes on that. You pay them the whole amount. That's their responsibility to do that. And then that still needs to be filed in a form sent, that 1099 sent out to them. And then it's also sent out to the right government agency. Because if you don't, some people might not claim that. That covers you, right? And then some people say, well, I'm gonna get, I'll pay people up under the table. I'm like, you're losing a lot of money. Wrong. You're starting wrong. You're starting wrong. I don't know any of that drives me crazy. You're starting off wrong. You're setting yourself up for disaster. Okay. Then now let's talk about the W-2, let me back up. On the 1099, that you do not pay them for holiday time, for time off. They don't accrue time. They should be giving you an invoice for their service and you pay them. I can give you an example of that other client I told you with that big developer. He had a 1099 person on there. They let her go. They were paying her, but she never would invoice them. She went down to unemployment and drew unemployment against them. You have to cross your T's and dot your I's, ladies. So back to the W-2. If they're full-time, you need to establish holidays, different things you want to take out. In my contract with my W-2 employees, they cannot go after my clients for 2 years and try to fleece them from me. They have vacation time. My employees, I feel like they're so more dedicated to the call. Sometimes when I feel tired, they always fill in the gaps. And so I have my senior bookkeeper who's been with me, she was one of the ladies I hired. I had to implement, if you don't use your time, you lose it. She always has time to carry over. She never calls in sick. She's just very dedicated to the calls. So I do that. So because everybody needs a break, right? So that's a part of that. Also, I pay holiday bonus. Again, on the the contractors, you're not supposed to do that. They're not an employee. So now, usually when you start getting to the point that you have payroll and other people, you might want to seriously consider maybe turning over the financials to someone else. Because now you got to run payroll. You got to make sure it's right. And that's one thing you can't play with. If you can't pay your people, they're going to leave, and they should, because they provided a service to you. So, you might get so busy on whatever your business is, it might not be purposely done. You might miss payroll. That's a big no. All righty. All right. Talked about taxes. Taxes are a massive part of a business. Getting back to when I say you go to the irs.gov and get your EIN number. And I just wanted to tell you, also the back of a little bit with my business name, BbK Services 556. The reason I have the 556 on there, BbK Services was already taken. So that's why I threw that number on the back. So that's another part of that. And again, with payroll, you want to make sure that's set up right. Here in the state of Texas, you would have to, and it'll all be done online, go to Texas Workforce Commission. You need an account number for that. So most of the time you pay that quarterly. So you're paying into that. You got to pay the feds and all that stuff in payroll for your people. And again, I also say here, additionally, records might be required for tax programs or loans or lease. Same thing with the grant programs. They need financials and paperwork. This is all. You think you want a grant and all that?
And a 1099.
In a 1099.
Sorry, not
Yeah,
your
thank you.
audience.
You need all that stuff. All right. Audit. While it is uncommon for a small business to be audited, right now, actually, in IRS, they were kind of, didn't have enough people. But they're staffing up. I don't know how many of you guys filled out that BOI? Oh, okay. You need, huh?
They just
For
changed.
yours. No,
It was
They changed back.
yesterday,
They
but I'm
changed
doing it
back.
right now.
right. Thank you.
Yeah.
It keeps going back and
Right.
forth. So let me just say this. The purpose of it is because during COVID, when people got those PPI loans, some people made up fake information, went out and bought all types of stuff. This is a way to monitor whose business is legit and who's not. Okay, so it's going back and forth in course because people are saying it's unconstitutional, whatever the case may be. This is all I have to say. It takes 5 minutes. All it's asking is your EIN. Is some people treat that EIN like it's your social security number. It's not. You basically fill out that a few things and push send, because if not, I think they're gonna penalize you $500 a day. It takes all of 5 minutes. What my admin did, she sent an email to all of our clients with, it has a recording on there and showed them how to do it. It takes 5 minutes. So you can choose what you want, but as a business owner and you hearing it's going back and forth, but you can still go like she's doing on that form right now and fill it out. I don't know how your cash flow is, but $500 a day for me, no.
I think I just read 592,
Yeah.
which makes me one of them.
Hey,
Yeah. Hey, girl.
yes,
What is the point?
it's actually more.
BLI.
Mhm.
BLI form.
So, and I think the deadline was yesterday.
It says, yeah, it was extended from.
Exactly. So again, a lot of people didn't know that. Again, as a bookkeeper, I was informed and make sure that information got out to my clients, as well as I told them I wanted a copy of it. And all their documents are up, I call it in a G drive, where their bank statements and everything is up there, and I uploaded it up there just for a record. If anything ever comes up and they say, oh, it wasn't done, and they start charging them, well, we have it. We have the paperwork where they've done. So just food for thought. And there are some businesses didn't have to do it. I believe nonprofits didn't. So, again, knowing your entity and what type of business you are.
Yeah, I had a CPA say that they have it on hold till April or something like that.
Really?
Keep changing,
Yep, it keeps
eventually
changing.
Probably don't need to do it. It's not that much they want. And no one wants $592 a day.
Right.
You don't want to miss.
Okay.
I was gonna say that you can also, if you have legal Zoom, you can do it through there. But you do have to pay like a little fee. But if you go to the IRS website, it's free. So.
Exactly. And that's what I was gonna say. When you pull it up, a lot of times, most of these places say, oh, you're gonna end up paying a fee. Look at it. The email I sent, it was the exact website, where to go and take care of it. That's with any of these forms and stuff. A lot of stuff you can do yourself. You just gotta make sure you go to the right website.
I put the link in the chat, which is shared with everyone for FinCEN, which is where you can go.
Exactly. So again, you don't want to be hit with that and you're trying to run a business. Not good. So summary. The key is knowing your numbers and having the appropriate paperwork in order and all those things so you can grow your business, scale to the way you want. Now, I will say this. People would love to say, oh, I do, like if they work someplace, my boss doesn't even know what I do. If I didn't do the work, they wouldn't know what to do. Guess what? When you're running a business, you shouldn't know everything. That's why you entrust other people so you can grow your business. So I don't like when people say that. Now, am I saying totally trust them? Yeah, you need to know something, but you got to trust the professionals and the people that you've hired to scale your business. Speaking of which, as we were growing, I had to turn over my books to one of my bookkeepers. I didn't want to do that because she's going to know how much everybody makes. She's going to know all of that. I had to let that go because I did not have time. Because usually, a lot of times, I would have to file an extension because of what I do for a living. People looking at me, oh, well, what you do for a living, you don't do it in your personal life. Like most of the time, hairstylists, I'm gonna give that an example. They never get their hair done. Their hair look a hot mess. You know, seriously, because, you know, they can't find anyone they really like or whatever it can be. So I'm so busy getting my clients ready. When was I ready to have my own done? But when I turned it over to one of my bookkeepers, I don't have to file extensions anymore. Everything's done. You know, she's taking care of everything. Just like now, we're getting ready for tax season. We're going back with all of our clients, reviewing everything this month. So everything's ready for them and they can just pull the trigger and turn it over to their tax person. Let's see what else. I think that might be it, ladies. Let me make sure. Oh, I went back. Yeah, it's uncommon. But again, remember I said having a tax person that's either an EA or a CPA, if you get audited, they can represent you. Because again, you don't have time to be, they're gonna ask for this document, you know, chasing them around and all of that. That's taken away from your business. Oh, am I going backwards? Yeah, because you got it turned upside down because your hands are shaking. So some of the service we provide is remote bookkeeping. I tell people, they're like, some people, I do not have a brick and mortar. I purposely do that. My bookkeepers are all 4-year degree accountants. And that enables me to pay them a good salary without that brick and mortar. And again, when it comes to bookkeeping, no, you do not have to have a degree, but it does make a difference. Let me give you an example. One of my clients, it's a restaurant, they caught on fire. Insurance check came in. So if that comes in the bank free on QuickBooks, the average person would have booked that to what? Income. That's not income. That money was used. They still had to pay staff when things were done. They still had to pay vendors. So those transactions did not need to hit that P&L, profit and loss, because that's where that is. It hit the balance sheet. That's what it needed to do because we booked it correctly. So let's say that check was $100,000. Let's say their revenue for the year was $500,000. If we had booked it wrong, they would have been overstated $100,000, and that changes your tax implementations. So another example, tax advice, payroll, financial cleanup. This is a part I had to really learn this. People come like now, and I love cleanups, they're very profitable, but they haven't done any of their books. They know it's tax time, right? All that stuff needs to be done. So you got to recreate, and I have a full bookkeeper here. You got to recreate. Yeah, they just dump everything. You're like, oh God. So you have to recreate this whole year in a small amount of time. And when I quote them the price, they're like, that much? I says, you're paying me what you would have paid me if I had been your bookkeeper for the whole year. Now I got to do crunch time. And then you're asking me in 2 days, how come you're not done? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So, and I have went back and had to do cleanups for 4 years. You know, think life be lifing, as the young people say now, and people get caught up on things. So that's another part as well. Audit and forensic accounting. My senior bookkeeper, Erica, her degree is in accounting with concentration in forensic accounting. So she usually, when we brings on a client and we meet with them and figure out what the best move is for them, Erica gets all in their business. I'd be like, Erica, come out the rabbit hole. She dives deep because she, you know, knows what their business is. And I'm the one up there laughing and joking and saying, hey, come on board with us, you know? So that's the other part. Now, for an actual full-scale audit and certification, again, there's accountants that just do audit work, and you have to have a certificate in that to do that. Let me back up. This is another thing with QuickBooks. If you're a smaller business, that seems to be the platform a lot of people use. I always tell people, even if you don't go with me, whoever you choose, people say, oh, I know QuickBooks, and get in there and we'll mess your books up. QuickBooks presents itself as it's user-friendly. It is not. You need to have some type of financial background because they'll say, receive a payment here. You click that, you just messed yourself up. That is not how you do it. Some people are looking like, oh, I did that yesterday. That's not how it works. And so with that, I lost my train of thought for a second. So you need to make sure everything is proper and you're doing everything the right way. What else? All right. If I think of some more, I'll think of it. Again, Kim Arney, founder of BbK Services 556. It has been an honor and I've been humbled and I've enjoyed this time with each of you.
Awesome. Still sharing, we're not sharing. Good. There we are. Awesome. So Kimberly, do we have any questions in the chat?
Laurencina asked, what numbers are most important to know?
What numbers are most important to know?
That's kind of a broad question. All numbers. All numbers, again, on that P&L, that's strictly showing your revenue, the money come in and your expenses. So that's important to look at that to, in that bottom line and see what your net is every month. So that's very important. Again, you're watching what's coming in, your expenses. I think I said this earlier, you might see your expenses really high depending on your business or something. You're like, oh, I need to maybe look for some other vendors and lower that cost.
Awesome. Samantha?
On that same note, use like a profit and loss, it just shows the income coming in and like the expenses going out. You were saying though, like if you got an insurance claim or something that you wouldn't put that on, but you put that somewhere else. But wouldn't you need to offset the expenses of, like, what did you mean by that? Like,
Okay, so if that money had came in and we had booked it to revenue, it would have hit the P&L. That you didn't want it to hit the P&L. So what I was saying, let's say for that year, that company had made $500,000. We're saying that their insurance check was $100,000, right? Then it's now going to show their revenue was $600,000. So it did need to hit the P&L. When we do these journal entries, getting nerdy again, it depends on what chart of account that you're hitting and where you're going to hit to which financials it's going to reflect on. I hope I didn't lose you. That's nerdy accounting talk.
well, because your expenses would be up that year to offset it, because obviously all of that insurance stuff is going to go out.
But when you book a transaction, it's two-sided. You have to hit on one side and on the other. So that might be where I'm missing you at. And I hope I haven't confused you, but it definitely did not need to hit their P&L because they would have been overstated and they would have paid taxes on that and they didn't need to.
So if it doesn't hit the P&L, then it
hit the balance sheet.
The balance sheet, so that's sort of like your capital or something like that.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions, Kimberly?
Yes, we have a few actually. The next one is, can contractors be paid bonuses if it's reported?
Can a contractor, a 1099, can they be paid a bonus?
So I said that earlier, you should not do that. But again, so when I pay my bonuses and go through payroll, and bonuses are taxed differently than regular. It's taxed harder. So when I do pay out bonuses, usually at the end of the year, I select bonus and it gets taxed differently and goes into their accounts. You can still do that for a contractor. I just wouldn't select, well, they're not going to be on your payroll system, first of all, because again, they're in your system as a vendor and it should be check marked that they're 1099, so you can issue a 1099. So you can just put that extra money in there that way, and it'll all go in there together, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But I would not recommend you doing that.
Okay,
You have time for another, Donna Lisa?
I've got one in person.
sorry.
Got hung up there on in my brain.
It's cold.
And I'm over 40.
And
Backyard
I'm over
Jackson.
60.
Yeah.
so.
Sorry, I had my hand up a long time, but I'm sure it's gonna be a good one. I have never heard of EAs. I've always used CPAs. So what's the word and where do you find these people?
Where do you find these people, right?
Yeah.
So again, EA stands for enrolled agent.
Enroll.
They are in Walmart.
Are they?
Yeah, there are a lot of them. They have the little kiosks. in
Oh,
Walmart.
I see. I learned something new.
Uh-huh.
And you can, just like anything, you know, everything's on the internet.
Yeah,
You
I
can.
just didn't know what the.
So you ever see somebody's name in comma EA? It's enrolled agent.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Awesome. Kimberly?
Andrea asked, can you elaborate more on paying contractors after they fill out the 1099 form? We receive their invoice, have their form. What else can be reviewed to make sure they are filing their taxes or that we are protected?
Okay, so again, that's why you issue them the 1099 form at the end of the year, which has to be done and filed to the right agency by January 31st. And when we do it, we use a platform where we get their email address as well. So that form is sent to them via email, to their email address, snail mail to them, and then it's filed at the right agency with the government. So it's on file there. So if they choose not to do what's right, you are covered. That's the purpose of the 1099.
Awesome.
I have two questions really quick. How important are receipts? Physical receipts, because the ink is disappearing now.
So, great question, Michelle.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
It's important. Now, this is what we do in QuickBooks. Every transaction, we attach those receipts. And another way I do my business, with my nonprofits, you have to be very detailed, because guess what? People are giving you money, right? So with my nonprofits, that's how I follow that rule for my for-profit clients. Everything's detailed. So if you can give us a receipt for Amazon, who doesn't order off Amazon, right? All day long, right? That receipt is in there. You can go back and look and say, oh yeah, I did buy a desk, you know, as opposed to that purse that showed up on the porch, surprisingly. So that's a good way. Yeah. And then your credit card statement is another way. Credit card statement is another way. So again, more files, records, and keeping that. And again, that can all be attached up in QuickBooks and there for you to view.
Awesome. Kimberly?
Yes, I'm grouping two questions here. One is, could you give an average range of what is reasonable to pay a CPA or a bookkeeper per month if you have 1 to 5 W-2 employees? And there's people that are also asking, is there anyone that, if they're doing their own books and they're very, very small, where they can just ask questions as they work? So.
Very good question. I like that.
A lot there.
As a bookkeeper, most bookkeeping companies offer a price range, a package. My company, we do not do that because I do not think it's fair. I cannot gauge and just have a flat rate. Let me give you an example. I have a restaurant. They have 2 locations. I do not charge the same bookkeeping fee for the other one, because the other one is not doing as much volume as the other one. So for us in my company, it's about time for us. How much time is it going to take us to do your books every month to produce your financials? I do it by how many transactions, how many bank accounts that we're all reconciling. So that's how I choose. Now, if I find that that does not work, I will change. But for me, the package thing does not work for me because I don't think it's fair. Now, someone says, yes, you can call to have help, but again, you're gonna be charged. We did a quote the other day. Someone wanted to know if we would just once a year reconcile everything, how much it would cost. What if they reconcile and then we review it? Well, guess what? It's gonna cost just about the same because I still gotta go back and see what you did. I might have to fix some of the things, and most of the time we will because it has not been done properly.
So what would you say is like kind of a ballpark figure for maybe a small business, or does that just depend on like how much one small business could be making $500 a month, whereas another small business could be making $5,000.
Exactly.
So that depends on, that would be the cost.
It depends on their transactions.
Gotcha.
Like payroll.
Right.
I do payroll for people. Some of my clients have 5 people on payroll. Some have more. Some people might start offering benefits. That's another thing. Usually I recommend QuickBooks payroll when you're first starting off and you're not offering benefits, but as you grow and you're ready to offer benefits, I tell people, go to an ADP who will offer benefits. QuickBooks will, but it's done through a third party. And again, I would prefer somebody go to ADP or someplace like that that'll offer that. So again, it's about the time. So if they are now going, I'm not charging them as much now that they're with ADP. I'm just then when the reports come in from ADP, I'm looking at that and booking that a journal entry to reflect the payroll on their books. So it's not taking as much time. Whereas again, some payroll I do, if people are all salary, that's a no-brainer. It's not much interaction. You just set it and it's just going to pay out, right? But if there's somebody hourly, like I have a coffee shop, he has 7 employees, we got to calculate those hours and they get paid every other week. That takes more time.
Time is money.
Time is money.
You had a question back here?
Hi, is it me? Right?
Yes.
Okay, could you speak to the idea of, not that anybody here would do it, but piercing the veil and fixing it, if it ever happened? I'm sorry, can you speak to piercing the veil?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, like commingling?
The corporate veil.
Yeah, piercing the corporate veil.
When they start doing things outside of the LLC and not putting it in the business name, is typically doing that. You have an LLC.
I think is that the same thing as commingling?
Well, no, commingling.
No.
You can do commingling.
So commingling is, you are getting, that you are getting paid in your business. You should be getting paid in your business name, not in your personal. And then, because in your bank account in your business name, you are not depositing checks paid to you. It should be only in the business. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
And all those transactions should be done in the business. You should have a credit card strictly for the business. Again, not the personal stuff when that purse shows up on the porch when somebody said, where did that come from? I don't know, it just showed up. So that's personal. So I have a credit card for my personal transaction. But when it comes to BbK and transactions like that, if I need to buy paper, ink, whatever, a computer, those are all done in BbK's checking account and BbK's credit card.
So if by accident somebody has,
and that happens,
crossed over, how do you fix it? So
we will then do a journal entry to reflect that and move that over to the books. But it should not be done all the time because again, that's more time. We got to fix it. Got to fix that stuff.
Okay, it's January, so you can start fresh this year.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, it's 8:58 and I want to make sure that we honor everybody's time. So next month we have, Remy Roy. She is doing our WomenRISE is podcasting, leveraging podcasting for your business on how to increase your brand. Can you pass me that bag back there that's by you? I'm so sorry. You got it. Registration is open for that. And then, Kim, we just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. And she'll now have a tab on her website to book for speaking opportunities down the road. Another revenue stream is born. Awesome. Well, our next WomenRISE is, I believe it's February 11th. Don't quote me on that, but registration is open. Remy Roy, with podcasting. And so we're going to send it over to you, Kimberly. I'm gonna, stop recording.